What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to share 3 things you can do to keep your email list warm so you can keep generating sales from your list month after month, year after year. Now, over time, as you grow your email list, as you're doing ongoing email marketing for a while, of course, there are going to be some people who just choose to opt out, and some of these things are going to be out of your control. Sometimes people will leave because they just don't want or need what you're selling anymore. Maybe they are no longer being responsive because they don't even use that email address anymore. So there's certain things that you can't control. But the majority of people who unsubscribe or do what I call the invisible unsubscribe, where they just stop opening your emails and they just ignore them, a lot of that actually is in your control, and that's just them responding to not being happy with the emails that they're getting. And either that or it could be something else. So that's what I want to talk about here. So the first thing you can do to keep your email list warm is to commit to a regular email campaign schedule. So this is really a bigger problem for a lot of small businesses that have never really taken email marketing seriously. So it's something that it's always on the to-do list, but it tends to get pushed down to the bottom of the to-do list when other things come up. So, maybe you go a month or two where you're sending emails on a regular basis, and then you forget about it for a month, and then you come back, or maybe this lasts for 6 months at a time, and then you stop for a few months and come back. And having that kind of irregular frequency like that is going to cause a lot of people to either unsubscribe or just start ignoring your emails, because some of them are just going to forget why they're even on your list in the first place. They're going to be confused whenever they haven't heard from you in a while and all of a sudden they see emails from you. So you really want to keep that maintained. You want to have that consistent schedule, because for all of the people who would be interested in sticking around to get more of your emails, you want to continue to give them reasons to stay interested. So, for your business, if let's just say you have a smaller list, then it might only be an every other week email. That's totally fine. If you have a small email list, then that's a good cadence. I mean, at bare minimum, I would say once a month, but even that is starting to get into the territory of, it's just not frequently enough to really keep people engaged. So I would say at least every other week. And then as your list grows, you want to get to where you're emailing them at least once or twice per week. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about a caveat to that, where you might think, like, well, if I'm emailing them twice a week, or emailing them 3-4 times a week, isn't that going to annoy people? Well, yes and no. So we're going to talk about that here at the end, because you want to make sure that not everyone is getting every email. So now the second thing you can do is, and this is super simple, because all you have to do is just put in the work up front to create this, and then it just works for you 24/7. So this is where you create automations that will automatically re-engage people as they go cold. So a really common automation you would use would be a customer win-back flow, and you can set this up for to enroll someone in this flow. If they have not purchased in the last 2 or 3 months, they would automatically be enrolled in this flow, and you're just trying to re-engage them and get them to come back and make another purchase. So let's just say they've been ignoring your campaigns for a while. You have this flow. You can hopefully set it up to where they've gotten a little break from your emails because they just stopped engaging with them altogether, and then they get enrolled into this flow. And you would be surprised, not only is it great for generating sales, but a lot of people will even reply to the email saying, oh yeah, I don't know what happened, I still want to get your emails, something like that. Another version of that, it's not for customers, but for just people in general who have stopped engaging, is called sunset unengaged. And that's a type of flow where the intention is to get them to either decide whether they want to continue getting emails from you, or if they would just like to go ahead and opt out, and that way you are not including them in your campaigns going forward, so you're not sending to someone who doesn't want to receive emails. And then other automations you can do would be things like setting up some nurturing flows. So for example, it could just be for different types of products that you're selling, setting up some nurturing flows that deliver content that help them get more value from their purchase over time after they've made that purchase. And that's just, again, another way that you can have a touch point with them, and you can send them content that's interesting, and you can keep them engaged. And then finally, the last thing I want to mention here, the third way to keep your email list warm, is to keep keep the content interesting. So what I mean by that is don't send the same email every single time, meaning that if you just send out a 10% off coupon sale every time you do an email, then it gets pretty boring to people. And for one, you're going to be training people to only buy whenever you send out that sale. But it's just so easy to ignore because everyone already knows what's in there. There's no reason to open the email and click because they just know what it is. It's the same thing every single time. So you want to have a variety in the types of campaigns you send, meaning that some emails have maybe some sort of sale or promotion like that. Other emails are more educational or some kind of value-based email. And then other emails maybe are sharing testimonials or sharing customer stories, things like that. So switch it up so that way when people see they got an email from you, they don't know what's going to be inside. So that way they have to actually open it and it makes it more interesting for them. And another part to that is that you want to make sure, as I mentioned earlier, that you don't send every email to everyone on your list every time, because again, it's just one email is not going to be interesting to everyone. So ideally what you want to do is use segmentation to create smaller groups of people within your email list and then create the content in the emails in a way that would be most interesting to that particular group of people. And this allows you to then send more emails. This is how you can get to that, sending multiple times per week, but not everyone is receiving all of these emails, and each person is only receiving the emails that are most likely to be interesting to them. And if you do this on a regular basis, not only are you having that consistent touch point to keep them engaged, but again, it's going to be more interesting for people so they actually want to receive your emails.